Hi guys, just wanted to give you a quick showcase here of this XP farm setup that I've got using the new potions and some allays. I've got a few requests of this, so I'm gonna send out a world download for this, but thought I'd explain kind of how it works first. So, real quick, this is really all that you actually need. The rest of this is just ease of use and making it more friendly for multiple different people to use, just a little safer. So all it really is you get some allays, you stick them in a minecart. I have it on a wall here, or you can use a fence. That way the minecart is trapped in some solid blocks in here. So this solid block here keeps the minecart from being able to move out, but the silverfish will still fit out underneath it and shoot off to the sides in here. And then this piston pushes the block down, so the allays take suffocation damage immediately, but we have this long pulse extender clock going on here that will pick up the piston so that they are able to keep up with the suffocation damage, otherwise they will eventually die. And then just a simple comparator clock here and a trapdoor trident killer. I think I picked up a trident. Drop that down there. And then basically all that it requires. So a dispenser here with our potions. Dispense it. We turn that on to start generating, and you'll see they'll start shooting out. Make sure the trapdoor are running, and there is a bias off to one side or the other, so depending on your orientation you might find that more spawning on one side than the other. That's manageable just with controlling the number of allays you've got, or which setup you have here and how many tridents you have. On this one here I probably could get away with one trident on this side because there's so few that come over here, but again they are rather small, so I find that having two tridents just makes sure that you don't get a bunch that pile up in a corner and aren't ever being hit. So, 4 tridents is recommended, or 2 tridents per trapdoor is the safest option, but if you get it so that it works, then it works. This over here was kind of just my testing ground to figure out how I wanted it, and the only difference between this and this one is height, and the height is 18 blocks up from where the player stands. And that's so that when I stand down here, step on this to turn the farm on, I'm not hearing those trapdoors at all. I'm not hearing the allays take suffocation damage. I will only hear the silverfish hitting the water so that I know that it's working. To make this work, turn that on, and now you can see got the silverfish going and the experience is coming down. So this right here is just a timer, a little pulse extender clock that I've got going on here. It will run for about 3 minutes, which is more or less what the splash potions will do. I mean, those will always be just a little different anyway, so this is roughly going to be the correct amount of time. So while this light is on, with these repeaters, it's preventing me from flashing another potion. So that just, again, means that if you got other people using this, you're not gonna unnecessarily use potions. Now if you wanted to make this so that it repeats non-stop because you're going to AFK there, I would not recommend doing this with 3 allays and this simple setup I have here. This is meant for 1 at a time, especially with them going, favoring one side. They do tend to pile up here faster than they're getting killed. So if you're going to AFK, then I would recommend going to a wider setup like this, where I have the water starting in this corner and flowing towards the middle on both sides, just kind of double wide, with 8 tridents. This keeps up with 9 allays at a time. So that's gonna get you a lot more experience this way, but the silverfish at that speed of spawning them in, they do find ways of shooting out of here. So I would say 9 is probably the practical limit. Any more than that and you risk the silverfish pushing your tridents out of place. So the way to make this thing repeat non-stop while you're standing here AFK is you remove this torch and you're replacing it with a lever. So as soon as I turn that lever off, it's going to spawn, or it's going to splash the potion, and this clock will constantly cycle, so that every time that it turns this light bulb off, this torch will splash another potion, and we will go around again. So that's how you set it up to AFK on yourself, and you could tie this in to the pressure plates again as if you wanted. All the pressure plates are doing is allowing the player to kind of have a bit of freedom of movement, and it comes up here to turn off a torch, which will then allow this to cycle and we get our suffocation damage going. And then I tied that in again as well with the trident killer with a short pulse extender so that it will clear out most of the generated silverfish after it stops spawning them in. Before I go and show you kind of how that works, I'll show you inside the hopper clock. This is roughly the amount of items you need to match up with the length of the potion. And then, again, if you're going to AFK for long sessions, or you're going to get a lot of use out of this and you don't want to be bringing your potions over to fill up here, have an auto potion brewer that will automatically start brewing more potions as they're used up. I empty out a bunch here. Should kick in. I break it. Oh, yeah, no, this one wasn't set up correctly. Bad example, we'll go up here. This one was set up correctly, so it's got the water bottles ready to roll. I have a different video on this, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but let's throw these out here. And I have backed up. There we go. Now you see it's starting to brew. I splash potions, restock. So that would be worry-free potion supply. Okay. That here. That. Get the torch turned off again. And we're getting the experience coming down. That so that it stays on all the time. See why I put the player so far away, and why I would say don't really go more than 9 allays at a time. Anyway, that is that, and we will make it not continuously run. That'll stop spawning here in a second, and the trident killer went for just a little bit longer, but it's obviously not timed quite right for this setup. It's timed for something else. So, yeah. Not too concerned about it. As soon as the player walks away, they'll just despawn anyways. Just as long as you don't build this out of blocks they can burrow into. So anyways, getting your allays in here, you can get the allays each into minecarts beforehand and then stack them down, or you can get a minecart in here and then you start throwing items for the allays to pick up down there, and when they fly down there and come back up, caught in the minecarts. So you can stack your minecarts and catch them in that way. Stack your minecarts here and get them caught, or bring them over in minecarts, Or you can put one allay in there and just breed it and until you fill up all your minecarts. So how you stack them, got a minecart on that rail there. You can have one spot up here where you get your allays kind of caught, and then you push that over and in. And of course I made this myself. There. Push it in and it will snap onto that rail, right? That's one way of doing it. Or you get them lined up above, minecarts down, and they get stacked. So now I've got 4 minecarts on there, and then I would just make sure that I have my glass pane. So they're going to sit here. I'll make sure I've got my block there. That way when the silverfish start spawning, these things are locked in. They're not going to get pushed out of the way. I just did a dumb, caught it in editing. There needs to be air here. So that the silverfish can actually come up the side. I need the block up there, but not right there. There. It wouldn't work. Now it'll work. Okay, carrying on. Or you can have another dispenser right here for your minecarts, or even up here when you have that dirt. That to stack your minecarts. Anyways, that's how you get your allays in, that's how you get your minecarts stacked, and that's how you run the farm. As far as trapdoor trident killers, I've got this little kind of setup over here that you can have a look at for what is good and not good for the directions you put your minecart, or your trapdoors, I mean, and some ways of finding your directions for north, south, east, and west, and the one little thing about not putting trap or tridents on the hinge. So if you spin this in a different orientation than what I've got it, you'll be able to adjust your trapdoors to make sure this still works. Well, that I think is everything about how this works, how I've built it, why I've built it, and if you want to tweak it or modify it for your own builds, I think I've given you enough information to do that. I guess the only thing that I didn't mention for my design choices was this here. The magma is just a little bit of crowd control and keeping them from bouncing quite so much so that they get underneath better. And I don't want a full block beside this wall block, just so that it doesn't connect and become thinner than the wall blocks below it. And then anywhere that there's not any flowing water, I found if I had a floor in here, experience would get stuck. If you built just the super simple basic little version here, you're standing close enough that it's not going to be an issue. You can see it's got a full floor. The experience will be pulled to you. But with these taller ones, the experience isn't going to move, so any kind of a floor where there's not flowing water will get your experience stuck. So that's why this is all open and letting it drop. Anyways, there you go. Hope you have fun. You can build something better, well, let me know. And see you guys next time. Hi! Did you want to know the rates? I bet you wanted to know the rates. Here's the rates. 0 to 30 in 48 seconds for 3 allays. And then with the potion will get you up to level 53 at that point. And then if you wanted the 9 allays, here, 0 to 30 in 20 seconds. And then you'll get up to level 81 by the time you're done your first potion. There you go. Rates. Be happy. Don't ask me questions.